Within the watch industry, diving watches typically aren't actually used for the diving function. They aren't actually used for the purpose they serve. And that's why we in the watch industry have unimaginatively called them desk divers. And in this video, I'm going to be going over the top 8 desk diving watches. Welcome back to the Chisholm Hunter channel. My name is Harrison, as always. And before we start this video, we do have a very exciting giveaway. We are giving you the chance to win a Citizen Super Titanium. All you have to do to enter is like this video, hit that subscribe button, comment with your favorite watch, and if applicable, head to our Instagram at Chisholm Hunter Watches and give us a follow. This is my thank you to you guys for hitting 60,000 subscribers. Honestly, it means the world. Thank you. And without further ado, let's dive straight in. Pardon the pun, let's dive straight in after I take this off. It's far too warm in here. The studio has blackout blinds, and as soon as the sun comes out, it starts cooking. At number 1, we have the watch that is literally on my wrist today. It is the Omega Seamaster 300 meters. And this Omega Seamaster 300 meters, comparatively to the bigger brother in the Planet Ocean, is what I would say the more aesthetically appealing, but I would also say it is the more desk diver oriented watch. Yes, it looks cool. Yes, it's designed in a brilliant, fantastic way, and it's extremely iconic, but most people don't use this watch to actually dive. The Omega Seamaster 300 meters comes in at 42 millimeters. It comes in at 13.6 millimeters in thickness, and its lug to lug comes in at 49.9 millimeters. Of course, it does have that iconic helium escape valve at around about the 10 o'clock mark, and that, of course, adds to the functionality of this watch. But I feel like when it comes to the Seamaster, people like the fact that it can do it, but they'd never use it. So this watch is extremely functional, but it's just not worn in the diving industry. They always turn to the bigger brother, the Planet Ocean. At number 2, we have a Panerai. Now, when you think of big, bold tool watches, Panerai is definitely at the top of the wrist. It just looks like a tool watch from the get-go. But what tool watches can't do is dabble in precious metals. Why would you buy a tool watch, a diving watch, in 18 karat gold? It just doesn't make that much sense. And this is where the Panerai Submersible Gold-Tech Oro Carbo comes in. Now, to kick things off, this watch comes in at £28,700. So if you are wearing a watch at £28,700 underwater and actually using it as a tool watch where it might get damaged, then Godspeed. I would be so upset if I scratched it. This watch is a chunky monkey, which perfectly fits into the DNA of Panerai. It comes in at 44 millimeters in diameter, and it actually wears a little bit bigger. The submersible range in general actually wears bigger because of that safety latch on the side of it, on the right-hand side of it. It kind of spreads out across the wrist that little bit more. However, with that said, I would never have a Panerai submersible without that safety latch because it's iconically a Panerai. The dial comes in black, and the bezel is unidirectional because it is a fully functioning dive watch. And the bezel actually comes in Carbotech, which is Panerai's very own material. This watch is also water resistant to 300 meters, so it definitely is a diving watch. And I wouldn't argue that this watch is capable of diving to that depth. I would argue, though, that nobody would actually use this watch for diving to that depth because, I mean, it's very, very expensive and it's full gold. Now, interestingly, something that I do love about this watch, apart from the safety latch on the right-hand side, is the fact that it has a rubber strap. Now, this black rubber strap plays wonderfully with the gold case. When you do have a gold watch, gold is typically a softer metal, and that means it scratches easier. Therefore, I would always put either a rubber or a NATO on it. However, when it comes to gold watches, I'd always probably side with rubber because I think it just looks. Next up, we have a very similar situation that happened with Tudor. They released their Black Bay 58 GMT, they released their new Black Bay Monochrome, and then they released this, the new Black Bay 58 18 karat gold. What Tudor have done here is essentially take a fully functional dive watch that goes to 200 meters of water resistance and then jazz it up, make it full gold, because why the hell not? They wanted a staple, a pinnacle product to focus on to get people invested in the Black Bay 58 line. Now, a lot of brands actually do this, including the North Face, and I've told this story a couple of times, so I'm sorry if you've heard it before, but let me just explain. When I worked for North Face back in the day, when I was doing some more videography and photography, the North Face said, we want you to take photos of the yellow jacket, the bright yellow jacket. Now, not many of these jackets will actually sell, but the click-through rate on those jackets is a lot more than the plainer colors, like the blacks and the dark blues, because people are more interested in something bold, but will always side with something safe. And that's essentially what I believe Tudor are doing here. They're advertising something really bold, really big, which normally people wouldn't side with. But once you click in it, you go down the rabbit hole and you end up by accident with a Black Bay monochrome. This watch does have exactly the same specs, more or less, as the 58. It comes in at 39mm, has a case thickness of 12.7mm, and the lugs come in at 20mm. It does have the very own in-house caliber MT5400, which is COSC certified and has 70 hours of power. But it does come in at around about £27,000. If you're buying this for actually diving, firstly, you can get a more functional dive watch for less of the price. And secondly, I want to be your friend because I don't have £20 to my name. The next watch we're moving on to has been argued amongst me and a couple of friends. When I was doing the scripts for this video, or not the script, I was planning the watches that I was going to talk about. I had quite a few arguments from a couple of friends about this watch. This is the Breitling Super Ocean Automatic 42mm. This comes in at 42mm. It comes in at 12.5mm in thickness. It weighs approximately 133 grams. It has 38 hours of power and a fully automatic movement, which is the Breitling Caliber 17. I actually really like the style of this watch, and I actually really like what Breitling are doing as a brand, especially with the Chronomat GMT. I thought that was just stunning. However, I do feel that Breitling are playing more into the aesthetics category, more into the colorful category, shall we say. And that's not a bad thing. A lot of brands do it. A lot of brands dabble, but that makes me believe that this watch is more of a desk diver. Okay, so the next watch on the list is possibly my favorite of the whole video, apart from, of course, the CMAT. And on that note, what is on your wrist today? Please let me know in the comments. It's time for the Chisholm Hunter Tradition, which of course is the wrist check. And while we're here, don't forget to enter that giveaway for your chance of winning that Citizen watch. Honestly, guys, I just want to thank you again. I don't know where I'd be without this channel. I don't know what I would do for work because I wasn't particularly good at anything. So I just want to thank you guys. Seriously. The next watch on the list is the Blancpain 50 Fathoms NORAD limited edition. So back in the day, they used to use a radioactive material on the loom of diving watches. And a lot of brands were guilty of this. Panerai, Rolex, obviously Blancpain, just to name a few. So they had a radioactive material on the loom of their dials. Now, radioactive substances against skin is not a good idea for obvious reasons. Now, when the studies began coming out about the radioactive substances causing types of cancers and causing horrible, horrible things to happen, they of course steered way in the opposite direction of radioactive loom. And what Blancpain actually did in their 50 Fathoms model for the military is they supplied them watches with a no radiation symbol on the dial. And what they did is they put an X through it. And this shows everyone that this watch does not have any radioactive substances on it. How cool is that? The Blancpain 50 Fathom NORAD comes in at 40.3mm in diameter, 13mm in thickness, and 300 meters of water resistance. It, of course, being Blancpain, has a beautiful in-house movement, but the reason that I think that this is a desk diver more than anything is because it's a collector's item. It's extremely limited. Actually, I'm on their website right now, and they're sold out. So there's no getting them. That's why I think this is a desk diver and not an actual diving watch. The next watch on the list that I believe is definitely a desk diver nowadays, and this is a boring one, so I do apologize, but let's not lie, guys. The Rolex Submariner. Let's talk about it. The Rolex Submariner was launched in 1953, and this was the first ever dive wristwatch to be waterproof to depths of 100 meters. So Rolex produced the first ever dive wristwatch to be water resistant to 100 meters. That is kind of a massive achievement. Fair play. Now, since the monumental rise to fame of Rolex, they actually take up around about 30% of the whole watch industry. And just to put that into perspective, as of 2021, Omega only have about 7.5 to 7% of the entire watch industry. Rolex is just a mammoth of a company. And there's no wonder why. They're brilliant products. I've got nothing against them. They are fantastic and they have such a hype and demand around them. But with that monumental success also comes monumental popularity. Rolex produce on average about 1.3 to 1.2 million watches a year. Now, there's waiting lists in most of the, actually probably all of the authorized dealers you will go into. So all of those watches are being sold. And if there's 1.3 million watches a year being sold, the odds are that not all of the people that they're being sold to are diving people. So people that are non-divers wear the Rolex Submariner, thus rendering it a desk diver. Up next, we have the TAG Heuer Aquaracer Professional 200 meters. Now, I'm actually obsessed with this watch. There's so many things that I just love about this model. I love the stainless steel bezel. I love the teak dial. I love the gradient of blue to black on the dial, kind of through the teak pattern. You can see that. It's a beautiful aesthetic of a watch. It's really quite stunning. But as a diving watch, there are things that don't really work. I mean, stainless steel on the bezel doesn't really work because stainless steel scratches more than ceramic. So it would make more sense to have ceramic rather than stainless steel. Then you get to the fact that it only goes to 200 meters rather than 300 meters, which you could upgrade if you wanted to. The TAG Heuer Aquaracer 200 meters comes in at 40 millimeters in diameter. It comes in at 11.54 millimeters in thickness and has a water resistance, of course, as I just went over, of 200 meters. Now, it's a beautiful aesthetic of a watch, and I love this watch, but within the younger market, I feel like TAG Heuer is becoming a little bit like Rolex, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. But I feel like they are becoming a little like Rolex within the under 30s market. People kind of recognize TAG Heuer as a status symbol, as a brand. So people that don't understand watches as much get TAG Heuer watches because it's kind of a status symbol. And I feel like that renders this watch as a desk diver. Last but not least, we have a phenomenal brand. Honestly, this is one of my favorite brands in the world. It is the Glashütte Original CQ. The 43mm variant comes in at 15.65 millimeters in thickness, and it is water resistant to 300 meters. It has a beautiful blue dial, a ceramic bezel, and a full stainless steel bracelet. Now, something really interesting about Glashütte Original that I learned when I was on the factory tour with them is that they actually produce 95% of their movements in-house in Glashütte, in their factory. And I feel, although this is a positive, it also means that watch enthusiasts are obsessed with the Glashütte brand. And watch enthusiasts, when they're buying something to this price point especially, don't normally take it in the water, don't normally take it diving because it's just too expensive. And that is all from me today. Thank you guys so much for watching this Chisholm Hunter video. My name is Harrison. As always, if you have enjoyed, please hit that subscribe button. And also, don't forget to enter our giveaway to have the chance of winning a beautiful Super Titanium Citizen watch. This is my thanks to you guys, and I'll see you guys real soon.